Shalom. I am Rabbi Mark Killa Kunis, and this is my Taste of Torah for this week, Parshat Emor 5780. This week's Torah portion opens with a discussion of what happens when a Kohen priest enters into a state of tumah, spiritual contamination by contact with death. He can't perform any of the holy rituals or eat of the holy food offerings until he purifies himself through the special ritual of the red heifer. Other forms of tumah contamination require immersion in a mikveh bath. Until purified, one must try to avoid contact with others or even objects like utensils, beds, or food, because such contact will contaminate them. Sound familiar? One scholar suggests that the word contaminate stems from the Hebrew tumah, contaminate, tum'ah. So if one is in a state of tumah, contamination, one must socially distance him or herself into a quarantine of sorts until purified. My dear colleague and friend, Rabbi Elliot Pilson of Miami Beach in Florida, showed me that the origin of the word quarantine and the process of isolating a community has its origins in 14th century Europe. The plague swept across Europe in 1347, spreading from England in the west to Germany and Russia in the east, and all the countries in between. Within 3 years, 1/3 of all of Europe had died. The famous Jewish physician Jacob of Padua counseled the seaport town of Ragusa, Italy, to banish all the afflicted to an area outside the city walls for 30 days, where they would either heal or at least not cause increased contamination. By 1377, encouraged by the success of the 30-day isolation known as Trentino, Italian for 30, it was adopted by other communities such as Marseille, Pisa, Genoa, but for some unknown reason, the isolation period was later extended to 40 days and was known as the Quartino, the 40, and hence the modern-day quarantine. Later in the Torah portion, the Torah commands us to count 49 days from the first day of Passover till the holiday of Shavuot. And so we Jews are now in a 40-something counting as well. For Jews, the number 40 is symbolic of change and renewal. Ritually impure, immerse yourself in a mikvah 40 saw of water, which is an ancient liquid measurement to purify yourself. Converting to Judaism, immerse yourself also in a mikvah 40 saw of water. Every year Jews dedicate themselves to repent from Rosh Chodesh Elul, the month before Rosh Hashanah, until Yom Kippur, for a total of, that's right, 40 days. Moses is on Mount Sinai to receive the Torah for 40 days. On Noah's Ark, it rained for 40 days and nights to usher in God's new covenant with mankind. Isn't it fascinating that we are now in a quarantine to end this deadly COVID-19 plague, referring to the Torah number 40, a number indicating change, self-improvement, and rebirth to a higher level of spiritual awareness? Now our quarantine after 40 days has begun to ease somewhat. But like the waters of a mikveh, like Noah in the ark, like Moses on Mount Sinai, let's make our quarantine our chance to jumpstart a better future for us, for our community, for Israel and the world. Have a great Shabbos.